Okay, so definitely I'm looking crazy right now. Actually I just got done working out not too long ago. Okay, so I wanted to start off this video by saying, if you are somebody that is struggling with self-love, I want you to watch this video, and I want you to watch it all the way towards the end. I know what it feels like to not love yourself. I know what it feels like to feel like you're ugly. I know what it feels like to feel like you're not good enough, because that's how I felt majority of my life. I felt that way, okay? I felt like I wasn't capable of being loved, and I didn't feel like I was capable of giving nor receiving love, because how I grew up, you know, and things that, no one was telling me, hey, as a child, waking me up in the morning saying, hey, let's practice some affirmations, let's get in the mirror, let's practice self-love affirmations and say, hey, I love me, I am beautiful. And no, I wasn't receiving that. And at a very young age, I was going through a lot of things. And if y'all, for my OG subscribers, y'all already know the story that I told you about, my father and my mother, and and things that happened to me and when I was younger. So, and it wasn't just only that, but it does start at home. When we are subconsciously programmed at a very young age, and it depends on how we grew up, it all starts at home. When you receive the first touch of your parent, like your mother, or being able to like when they first pick you up, they hold you, you crying, and then they hold you, I'm here, baby, nah. But at the same time, I don't know what y'all went through. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to go back into a full story and tell y'all what I went through. If you want to, just go through my playlist, and it should be in stories of my life. But anyway, I learned that the things that I went through did not break me. However, the experiences and the trauma that I was facing, it did make me, right? And how it made me a better woman. It made me a better person. It made me a better being. It makes me a person who is willing to be humble, someone who values and appreciates life more, as well as appreciating myself. I didn't value myself. I did not love myself. And I used to write negative things about myself because of things that I was already going through. And when I went to school, I was bullied. So when people would bully me, talk about me, call me names, say that I'm ugly, say that I'm this, and talk about me in very, bad ways, it just only enhanced that feeling of feeling not worthy, right? And as I got older, I carried that with me as an adult. So when I started to get into relationships with people, the relationships would end, or I would be talking to somebody, it wouldn't go as far as I wanted it to go, or the person would choose somebody else, or, I would get in a situation, I would get cheated on, I would feel neglected. Oh, damn. I would feel neglected throughout the relationship. I would feel it would be me, it would be me chasing that person, putting that person on a pedestal, looking for their validation, waiting for them to, make me feel like, okay, I am enough. This person, like, I used to be that person when anybody showed me attention. You feel me? And it wasn't and I'm not gonna lie, because sometimes I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I did have certain relationships where I really didn't take serious. But I was a kid, like, you're young, you like a teenager, what relationship are you really gonna take serious? Like, what? But yeah, so like as I got older, and after my last relationship that really just messed me up psychologically, I wasn't healing from it the proper way. I wasn't going into I wasn't doing self-love. Like, I wasn't working on myself. I wasn't healing. And it took me many years. And I know, like, me being 28 and being older now, I'm seeing and I'm looking back and reflecting on my past relationships that I've had with people. And it's not just only intimate relationships. I'm talking about actual friendships too. Like, okay, what was I not giving to myself that where people felt that they could just run all over me? What was I not giving? What was I not showing, or what was I lacking with myself that people saw and they decided to just do exactly what I was doing to me? Now, and the reason I say that is because I learned that it is our experiences. Look, our experiences can shape us for better or for worse. So it's either you take those experiences, the experiences that you went through, and you can continue to make excuses, or you can take accountability and tell yourself, you're not responsible for what happened to you as a child. Nobody is responsible for that. You're a child, okay? But as an adult, you are responsible for the next steps that you are going to take to heal. No one is going to tell you that you have to heal. No one is going to tell you, hey, you have to love yourself. You have to go deep within yourself, be willing to work through the uncomfortability. It's going to get uncomfortable. This is not a process. Healing is not for the weak, okay? You have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You're going to be crying. You're going to be facing things and looking back and saying, okay, I've been through this. If you're somebody who's been through sexual abuse, it is not your fault. It was not your fault. Physical abuse, it was not your fault. Okay? It doesn't mean that people are going to hurt you or that you're going to go through. You don't have to experience the same things that you experienced before. It is not your fault. You are loved, okay? As well as I'm telling you this, I'm telling myself this. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of success. You are worthy and capable of receiving and giving love, okay? You are safe, okay? You do not have to carry this burden, to continue to carry this luggage. Like when Erykah Badu said, bag lady, you gonna hurt your back, dragging all those bags. Because you're carrying so much you're carrying so many past you're carrying this burden of, it was my fault. Your inner child wants nothing but you to protect them, okay? You are responsible for protecting your inner child. Right now, you're responsible as the adult, okay? Do not hold on to things and say, you know what, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm this, I'm that, because you're not stupid, you're not dumb, because those things are not true. That's what you are programmed to think subconsciously, and that's not your fault. Everything starts at home, okay? When people have a history of going through abuse, when they get into relationships, this is something subconsciously that they are used to because they think that this is love, knowing that it's not. Take back your power and know that give back to you. Love you. Work on healing your inner child. It's okay to cry. It's okay to go through this. That's what healing is about. That's what growing is about. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. Look in the mirror. Be raw with yourself. Forgive yourself. Accept yourself as you are. And then say, what can I do next to show myself that I love me? I got up this morning. I worked out. Okay? I worked out. I got up this morning. I journaled. I got up this morning, I had an inner conversation with myself. I got up this morning, I did my self-love affirmations. I got up this morning and I gave back to me. I was vulnerable with myself. I was able to get uncomfortable. It don't feel, and it doesn't feel good. Because I'm like, okay, Alize, I understand. You've been through this. Just because you've been hurt in relationships, just because you know, and the thing it's always been hard for me is love. So just because you've been hurt and because you've experienced, you know, unhealthy relationships doesn't mean that you have to continue to experience those things. And before we can even get into another relationship, before we can even get into an actual loving, passionate relationship with somebody, we first have to build that within ourselves. So I wrote a bucket list of things that I wanted to give back to me. I wanted to do for myself next week. Go to the bookstore. Okay? I want to paint my nails. See, yes, baby, I know I'm a stud. I get it. But, you know, I'm masculine presenting. But, baby, I like to get my nails painted. Okay? I'm feminine. I'm a woman at the end of the day, okay? I like to do things. I like to, you feel me? So that's that feminine part of me, Aaron. But anyway, like I was saying, I want to go get me a massage. Not that chair massage. That ain't gonna do it. I want me a massage. An actual massage, okay? What else am I gonna do? Okay, give me some new bras, Aaron, period. Go get my hair cut, okay? Cool. I'm going out with my homies. You feel me? And I want to buy myself flowers. I had a girl ask me one time, have you ever been given flowers? And I said, no. No one's ever given me flowers, but I've always bought flowers for women, but I've never received them. But this is the thing. I don't want flowers from nobody. I'll buy them myself. I'm going to take myself to a flower shop and I'm going to look at different flowers to see what kind of flowers I like. And I'm going to look at them and I'm going to be like, okay, I like this flower, like roses, for example. I like blue roses because blue is my favorite color. And my mama, that's my mama's favorite color too. She liked blue. So blue has always been my favorite color. I love blue. That is my favorite color. I'm talking about that royal blue, like that Nipsey Hussle royal blue, like blue, okay? Not light blue, not that sky blue. No, royal blue, okay? So anyway, boom. I'm going to go to a flower shop. I want to take myself there. And I just want to roam. And I'm going to just look. And I'm going to just enjoy going, like just being out and doing something for me. Do things that are going to, let me tell you something. When you start to show up for yourself, when you start to get to know who you are, you will then know what you are worth and what you deserve in a relationship. Because you deserve to be spoiled. You deserve to be put, baby, you deserve to be seen as a goddess, okay? A king, whatever, a god, whatever you want to see yourself as. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve to be seen, heard, wanted. You deserve that. So I understand and I know what it feels like to not feel like you're good enough. I was fighting my own demons for a very long time. And I kept seeking out validation from other people because I thought that that's what will help me to fulfill that hole within my heart. But that's not going to help. What's going to help is for me to be willing to be uncomfortable and be vulnerable with myself and say, yes, I have made mistakes. Yes, I did things that I was not proud of. Okay, but I'm willing to take responsibility and hold myself accountable and say that I decide I'm no longer that person. Okay, I'm no longer seeing myself as somebody who's not enough. I'm not seeing myself as somebody who's not successful. I'm not seeing myself as somebody who's not good enough, because those things are not true. That's not true, because that's not what God thinks of me. That's not what the divine would want me to think. That's not what my spirit guides would want me to believe. That's not what my ancestors would want me to believe. because that's not true. Nobody is ugly, okay? Nobody is dumb. Nobody is stupid. It's always going to be somebody that may know a little bit more than you, and probably because either they self-educate themselves and they read a lot. You know, it's important to read. That's why they say you always want to read a book, because you learn a lot when you start to read things, researching, whatever. You listen to different podcasts, things that are going to help, you know, things that are going to help feed your mind, feed you mentally. So, you know, I was that person, that kid that used to always just, you know, and I was writing so much stuff about myself down, and I decided to change the story. I said, you know what? I'm finna take my power back, because, baby, listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something, okay? No. And this is what I want. This is what I told myself. I said, look, I said, I am beautiful. I am enough. I am love. I am loved. I forgive myself. I accept myself. I trust myself. I feel safe and secure within myself. I am worthy and deserving of love, success, respect, and acknowledgement. I radiate godly energy. I am a goddess, okay? And I am worthy and deserving of a healthy and loving, passionate relationship with the person I want to be with. So it's simple as that. It's not simple, but what I'm saying is that was just for me. But I wrote this down because I told myself, I said, you know what? Yes, I've had relationships where, and I forgive those people. I forgive my past lovers, and I have no regrets. And I learned that from my homeboy. CG. CG. Yep. I learned that from him, because he told me he has no regrets. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. Because a lot of things, we tend to hold on to that. We tend to think, oh, this bitch gonna be the same as the next bitch. That nigga gonna be the same as the next nigga. Da-da-da-da-da. But that's not, you holding on to that type of energy and assuming that, you're creating a subconscious belief that all men are the same, all women are the same. And you're thinking that, oh, and I hate when people say fuck love, because God is love. So what are you talking about? So when you say those things subconsciously, you are forming beliefs to make it to make yourself think, oh, this person comes to me and they trying to do right by me. This too good to be true. Or this person wants to genuinely be my friend. But I'm not used to people being my friend, because I had a lot of people that snaked me. I'm not saying to have your guard down. I'm not saying just, you know, be oblivious and then just go thinking that the world is filled with ponies and carnivals and all that. No, baby. But what I am saying is that not everyone is going to hurt you, and not everyone wants to hurt you. You do not have to keep recreating those experiences, okay? And the way we recreate them in a different form, in a different way, is that we carry this huge bag, this baggage, and in our minds we're thinking, nah, that's the same. Nope, I can't do that. And we're assuming like, okay, this is gonna happen. This is going to happen to me again. Or, you know, this person is going to hurt me. Or I can't trust this person. Or I can't. First, start by trusting yourself. Do you trust yourself enough to make decisions? Do you trust yourself enough to have the confidence and to know that I'm able to have discernment? I'm able to know if there's something that I won't allow, something I will not tolerate. This doesn't mean to allow people to cross your boundaries and do. No. When you know yourself and you truly love yourself, you know what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate. One thing I won't tolerate is disrespect. I won't tolerate nobody to disrespect me, because I respect myself. I respect myself as a woman. I respect myself as a being. I am a goddess. Therefore, a goddess should not be disrespected. And that is because this is my reality. This is how I see and view myself, right? Okay, so if there are things that I know that when I'm working on myself and healing myself each and every day and learning more new things about myself, okay, I don't like when people yell at me. Okay, do I yell at myself? Do I talk? I don't like when people call me stupid or dumb. Do I talk to myself that way? These are things that you have to ask yourself, like, what am I doing to myself? Everything is a mirror. Everything is a mirror. It's just only mirroring the reflection of who you feel and believe yourself to be. If you're going to continue to see yourself as somebody who's negative, somebody who can't get it right, somebody who's constantly making mistakes, somebody who's always constantly being clumsy, somebody who's always constantly doing if you see yourself as somebody, and I'm gonna go deep, if you see yourself as somebody as the same person that you used to be, you know, I've seen so many, like, I've seen people who went from being alcoholics to now actually living a sober life. People that share their stories of when they used to be on drugs to now living a sober life because they decided to take their power back. It wasn't easy for them. They had to go through the uncomfortability. They had to go through, when you're working to get off of something, when you're working to heal yourself. You feel me? When you, especially when you know that you've been doing this drug for a long time and your body is just so used to it and it craves it, and you're now in rehab, you're now taking those steps to actually to healing your body physically. You're gonna go through this period of where withdrawals. You're withdrawing from that. So it's like your body is like, oh, I need it, but your mind has to be strong. So are you going to give into it? So it's the same thing. Are you going to keep continuing to give into the limiting beliefs? Are you going to keep continuing to give into the old story? Or are you going to take your power back and say that's no longer who you are? You are no longer that person. You are no longer that person that was once picking up that needle and putting it in your arm. You are no longer that person that was once staying home, drinking beer late nights, or drinking alcohol consistently throughout the day, and just, doing reckless shit, going outside, driving, going, you know what I'm saying? Or just doing reckless things. You're no longer that person who was on the streets on whether you was on Figueroa or Skid Row. You are no longer that person because you've decided to change and turn your life around. Okay? You decided to take a step into a new direction. It starts here. Mentally, you must be strong. And this is the thing. Excuse me. This is the thing. When you decide to say, no, I'm no longer going to do that, that's an act of self-love. Self-love is an uncomfortable feeling. It is uncomfortable to go through, especially when you know that you don't love yourself. And first admit it. Be honest and say, no, I don't love myself. I don't. And that's okay. But what steps can I take now to love myself? Don't look for somebody else. Don't wait for the next person. Don't wait for the sun to shine. Don't wait. Act now. This is your chance. You have to see yourself in a different way. If you see thou think, what is it? Thou thinketh they shall be cometh, whatever. If whatever you think to believe who you are, that's who you're going to become, and that's what you're going to be seen as. Okay? So once again, you are not responsible for the things that happen to you as a child, but as an adult, you are responsible to take accountability for your actions and to create new choices in life. I was once that child that used to just be like, you know what? I had, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had suicidal thoughts. It was a lot. I had suicidal thoughts. I've had suicidal thoughts practically, I don't want to say all my life. I don't have them now, but I've had a lot of suicidal thoughts. Yes. I've had moments of where I'm just like, you know what? I just want to end it all. Like, I would just be in this deep, dark depression. When I was a kid at 15, 16, I was in this deep depression for 6 months, and I was posting how I hated my family on social media and all this stuff about dying. It was just crazy. But I was in this deep, dark depression, and I couldn't pull myself out of it. I didn't get recently diagnosed with major depressive disorder until I was 24, and then bipolar disorder. And then I was just so like, and that's not who I am. Those are just symptoms of what I have, but that's not who I am. But because I don't identify as somebody who is bipolar and somebody who has depression, I don't identify as that because that's not who I am. But no, like when I was diagnosed and then I went to a psychiatrist and she started talking to me, and I told her about things that I went through when I was young, and she said, this is why you act the way that you act. This is why, you know, you're, because of the things that you went through. And I wanted to change that. And I thought every time I was loving myself and I was changing. No, I wasn't, because I kept doing the same thing. Going other people. I was trying to fill a void in my heart. I wanted to be loved. But I just, and then when I looked at myself today, I said, I am loved because I love me. I love me for who I am. I love me because I'm creating new habits on a daily. I love me because I'm following my passions and continuing to put out videos for people because I want to see everybody win. I love me because I'm following my passions. This is my passion. Creating content is my passion. I love me because I decided to work out today. Get up off my fat behind and said, girl, come on, let's do this workout. And then what I'm going to eat today, I'm going to be very light. Yeah, I'm taking back my power because, baby, I am a goddess. And so are you. You're a goddess. You're a king. You're a god. You can create in the life you desire. Baby, you're not dumb. You're not stupid. Those people that hurt you, let them get their karma. But that doesn't mean that, no, it's not safe to love. It is safe to love. Okay? I don't know you, but I love you. And I want nothing but the best for you. I hope this helped change somebody. And you know what? I feel like it definitely did hit home. Remember, you don't have to be the person that you once were. And I remember Maya Angelou, she was talking about this too. Thank God for where you're not. Okay. What was it? What was the quote? I forgot the quote specifically, but I had woke up because when I prayed this morning, I said, thank you, God. And I said, I thank God for where I am now, because where I used to be, it wasn't in a good place. Because where I am now is much more in a better place. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And financially. So remember that at the end of the day, you are the person that creates your reality. Everything is happening through you, not to you. Okay, so if you want love, if you want to experience a loving relationship, you first have to give that you have to first give that to yourself and show yourself what that looks like. And tell yourself you are deserving of a loving and happy relationship. You do not need to be in no domestic violence where people are putting their hands on you, beating you, and calling you names. You don't want to go through that. That's not what you deserve. You know what you went through before, and you don't want to go through it again. So take the choice, take that stand, and say that's no longer my reality. This is who I see myself as, and persist in the new belief of the new you. All right, I'm done. Bye.